What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys figure unboxing and review video. Today we are taking a look at Tony Stark Mark VII suit-up version from the movie Marvel's The Avengers. Now this is the second suit-up version figure that we get from this movie, specifically the first one being Mark VI, which to me is one of the best figures I have ever gotten in my collection. We did that unboxing a couple of months ago. Today we take a look at Mark VII, and this is featuring Tony Stark in that scene where he falls off the balcony, or well, I guess he gets thrown off by Loki from the balcony in that scene, and pretty much he gets suited up as he's falling from the sky. So we're gonna take a look into the whole figure itself. We're gonna go through the process of putting it all together. I'm very excited to get started with this unboxing. Now, I did get the figure off of Sideshow Collectibles, so if you guys are interested in purchasing the figure, I will include the link to their website on the description below, so that way you guys can secure your own copy. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get started with the review. Okay, we get to the design of the box. So I felt the same way about Mark VI, and I feel the same way about this box. I'm not a really big fan of this box. So we get a red shading type of background with the letter A for Avengers. We get pretty much an image of the figure right there, small and big. We get the logo of the movie and the name of the figure at the bottom. And then once again, I'm not sure why Hot Toys is doing this, but they include that horrible warning sign right there at the top right, which basically is to warn us about the batteries. I'm still not understanding why they're putting it in the front. I feel like it ruins the background of the whole box itself. So to me, it doesn't look good at all, and I really don't like it whatsoever. But again, unfortunately, they have made this decision once again to include it there. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't like the box at all. As you guys can see on the right, we get the name of the figure and pretty much the left arm of the figure, along with that red shading background. It's just a red shading background. I feel like it pretty much erases the whole imagery of the figure. It feels like it's all blurry and all over the place. It's like a big cloud on top of the whole background. Here on the back, a little bit better. So we get the Star Tower in this orange background, warning illegal information by Hot Toys, and this is pretty much supposed to be representing that scene whenever all the Chitauri are coming from the sky after that portal that was opened. So I do like this imagery. It looks pretty nice. And we do also get a Jarvis Anytime Now deploy, which is something that Tony says whenever he's trying to get Mark VII all set up as he's falling from the sky. Back to the front. So as I mentioned before, the box isn't bad, but it's not great either. I think it could have been a little bit better. Okay, so now that we have removed the main cover, so we have a red colored box with the figure pretty much right there. As we can see with all of the accessories, we have a lot to cover when it comes to this guy, but pretty much, yeah, it's a lot of things, and this would pretty much be how it looks from the front. On the sides, we just get a red background with the name of the figure. Again, we get this blurry background, which again, I'm just not a big fan of. I really don't know what I'm looking at. It feels like it's all a big cloud. Here on the back side, same thing. So we get an image of Stark Tower with the name of the figure at the bottom, and to me it's such a blurry type of background that it really ruins the box for me, in my personal opinion. Now, does that mean that it's going to ruin the figure for me? No way. To me, the box is just kind of like a bonus, in my personal opinion. But again, I just wanted to mention that the box isn't the greatest thing in the world, in my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree with me on that. But that would be what we have for the back of the box. Back to the front. I'm done talking about this box. Let's get the figure out here so that we can take a look. Okay, so now we have the plastic covering for the figure. As you guys can see, so many accessories, a lot of things that this box comes with. So we have a lot to discuss. This video is going to be so long, so please bear with me. I know I might get a little bit extended talking about all of the accessories that this comes with. Looking at the figure for the first time himself, first impressions, I like it. Honestly, I really like it. That head sculpt, I was iffy on it, but looking at it in person, it's better than I expected. The body does look nice as well. It has nice proportions, so I would say the figure on its own is great. But obviously, to me, the main event is all of those accessories and the suit up connected to Tony himself. So I would say after a good start, I like how the figure looks. So the way that this is going to work, guys, we're going to take a look at the accessories. We'll take a look at Tony in detail, and then we're going to go ahead and do all of the versions from mode A, B, and C, and go over how to build up the whole thing. And then at the end, of course, we'll do posing, final thoughts, and maybe a side-by-side comparison as well. Okay, we get to the accessories. As I mentioned before, man, we have a lot of things going on with this guy. Now, I don't want to get the video too extended, so I'm not going to talk about every single piece individually. I feel like I'll be able to talk about them whenever we are going over each mode for the figure, but I will talk about at least most of the accessories that it comes with. So first of all, we start off with the display base. We get a hexagonal display base with the arc reactor as its logo. I really like the background of it, and we also get an Avengers logo right there at the bottom, but it is a pretty much a rough, scratchy background. And also we get the name of the figure, Tony Stark. So I'll be honest, I like this display base. It's pretty basic, but I really like how it looks, and this is a display base that we're gonna have to use to pose the figure. So I'm glad that they, it's simple, but still in all, I like the color shading and all of it, so I don't have any issues with this display base. It looks pretty good to me so far. No issues whatsoever. And then, so starting off with the actual accessories of the suit. So this pretty much big, I would say, bodysuit from the back. Unfortunately, it's made out of plastic. We don't get any die cast with this figure, so it is all made out of plastic, but I do like the coloring of it, the paint applications. I can't tell you guys how big of a fan I am of the silver coloring. It's just so nice, and it adds this kind of mechanical type of feeling to the figure itself. So I can tell we're gonna have to use this part of the figure a lot throughout it, and this is the biggest accessory that comes with the figure. Obviously, whenever we go through the modes of the whole setup, I'll be able to discuss the importance of this accessory. We do also get this, I would say kind of chest bag jetpack, if I can call it that way. Again, still at this point, I don't know the use of it. I can see a lot of magnets that come along with it, but I don't know the use of it or how we're gonna install it onto the figure. I can tell because of how it's connected that it is gonna go inside of Tony. But again, wouldn't know still the process of the modes. Now, thankfully, this thing does have batteries so that we can turn on the arc reactor, and I like how well hidden it is. I can't tell the on and off button if I put on that part that I just disinstalled right now, so I really like this piece so far. For those of you guys who got the excluded version, so basically it came with this accessory for the same price, by the way, so that's why I got it. I mean, there wasn't anything extra that I had to pay for it, so it's kind of like a hologram version of the Stark Tower. I really don't think I'm gonna use it. The figure itself, it's pretty much posable on its own, but I like the fact that it comes with it. Just add something extra to the figure, and as I mentioned before, I didn't have to pay anything for it, so I'm glad that I got it. Looks cool, but I just don't know what to make of it or how to use it. These right here would be, I would assume, kind of braces that go on his thighs. Again, as I mentioned before, these look great, and I love the silver coloring on it. They look so good. The paint applications are well done on these pieces, as they always are for any Iron Man figure. But yeah, these would be pretty much for his thighs, and obviously we will use them a little bit later on depending on the mode, but they look nice. No issues with it whatsoever. More accessories. These should be for his arms, and it should be for the forearm, wrist area. As you guys can see, that piece at the top that is kind of articulated should be for his elbows. The good thing about all of these accessories is that they have the letter R or L, so that way we know what side it goes to, either right or left. Once again, as I mentioned before, the silver coloring looks great, so no issues with them whatsoever. Next, we have more pieces. This is for also his legs, I believe, and this should be for the bottom part of the legs where his calves are. This is more of a red coloring, something that I'm confused about, and hopefully you guys can help me out on this. For some reason, we get kind of like this battle damage paint application, and I'm not understanding why. This is supposed to be a new suit. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm a little bit confused as to why we have those battle damage paint applications, if it's supposed to be him barely suiting up for the first time with this suit, which is Mark 7. But again, if you guys could help me out on that, I might be wrong when I'm talking about this. Also, we get some shoes that are pretty much detachable. I would assume that, again, obviously they go in the feet of Iron Man, but I don't think that they're going to be needed whenever we pose them in the flying position. The reason why is because the feet is probably the last thing that takes over from the suit as it's taking over him. So I don't think we'll need him for that part. I am assuming that it's going to be used for a different pose. More on that obviously a little bit later whenever we're going through the modes. But again, as I mentioned before, I like the fact that it includes the letter, so we're able to know where it goes. This also is a chest piece that goes on top of its arc reactor. It has these clips that go attached onto, I would assume, the silver parts. Again, still don't know at this point what the purpose is of each single piece. Well, I know the purpose of it, but I just don't know for, you know, on what mode is it supposed to go attached on. So more on that obviously whenever I do read the pamphlet with all of the instructions by Hot Toys, which is really big, so I can tell that a lot of steps are going to be included for the Thoughta version. And then more pieces for the legs. So this one's again battle damage. I'm really not understanding why they're battle damage if it's supposed to be a new suit, but as I mentioned before, please help me out on this, guys. I really like these pieces a lot. The coloring matches well, and also has its articulations in the middle with magnets from in the back or on the inside basically. And once again, each of them has its own letter, so that way we know where it's supposed to go. So really love that we do that. But this pretty much should be it for all of the accessories that I'm going to take a look at for the figure. But also, let me not forget, we also do have a couple of hand pieces. So I'm glad that we only include these two pairs. This is supposed to be used specifically for the figure individually, for that pose, right? Not for the whole figure in totality. So I can tell that these four hands are going to be used in that process of posing the figure. So I think I'm okay with just them including these four hands. I was thinking maybe close fist, but watching that scene, I don't remember him closing his fist at any point. So I'm totally fine with these four hand pieces. And that pretty much should be it for all of the accessories that we're going to take a look at so far. No issues for now. Okay, we get to Tony Stark. I said that we were going to talk about this guy before we get to all the suit up versions for the whole figure. So I really like this figure, and to me the head sculpt is better than I expected. When I looked at the promo pics, I thought that it was not that great, but now looking at it in person, it is a really good head sculpt. I can't go perfect, and the reason why is because there are some wrinkles that make the figure look older than what he actually is throughout the movie. Also, his eyes seem a little too small in my personal opinion, but the hair piece is great. There is a seam line in between the neck, which I'm totally okay with. We need a lot of motion when it comes to this guy, so I think that a seamless head sculpt would have been very hard to pose. But the beard, the goat beard and the mustache are nicely done. Skin texture is on point, and I can see Robert Downey Jr. from every single angle. I would say for sure a much better head sculpt than the one that we got for the Mark 6. So to me, from a scale of 1 to 10, I would say about a 7. I think it's a pretty good head sculpt. Please let me know in the comments if you do agree with me on that or not. So also, just an FYI, this guy does come with rotating eyeballs, as I always like to do. I like to show them off just in a random position. So in this case, turning right. And yeah, to me, as I always like to say, the rotating eyeballs is a big game changer. It makes the figure look even better than what it already is. And I think the go-to position would be looking to his left or to our right. So now the clothing, I like the clothing as far as the fabric of it. It does fall short from the wrist, but at the same time I feel like you can bend that undershirt up to his elbows, and I think it should look fine. But the fabric of it is good. I really don't have any issues with it. We do get the seam lines right there between the hands and the wrist, and the whole body is pretty much made out of plastic. Now in the actual shirt in the front, so the pretty much that not logo, but pretty much, yeah, what we get in that shirt, it's not actually accurate. In the movie, I believe he has the logo of Black Sabbath, if I'm not mistaken, which should be a music band. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And we don't get that right here. And I'm not sure if maybe there was a rights issue by Hot Toys, and they just didn't want to spend money on this. We get a similar shirt kind of issue with X-23, which is a figure that we just got released, and I think they did include the similar logo, not for this one, so I'm not sure why they didn't. On the back side, guys, we pretty much pulled the shirt up. It is gonna include batteries. That is gonna be for his arc reactor that he has on his chest. Obviously, the good thing is that even with the shirt on him, we can just pretty much press the button, move the button, on, and it should turn on. And to me, the lighting of the arc reactor is pretty good, so I really don't have any issues with it. And as you guys can see, because we have the batteries on it, there's like this add-on muscles to him for his shoulders, chest, and his chest area. So I'm really happy about that. Here at the bottom with the legs, I would say same thing. The clothing looks nice, the boots as well. There's no pleather, thankfully, and there never really is for any Marvel figures. And the pants, and again, as I mentioned, with the shirts as well, it's really nice the fact that it's fabric, so I can tell that this whole pretty much outfit is not going to get damaged in any way. My only issue would be the fact that they didn't, go out of their way to get the rights for Black Sabbath, so that it would be the authentic logo that we get for the shirt. But also, I did want to go ahead and add other accessories to the figure. So we get his wrist pieces. So these are what pretty much calls out the suit to get attached to him. So basically with that laser beam that is on the suit, it lights up the wrist pieces, and that's the way that it gets connected to him. I like the fact that with the wrist pieces we can kind of hide that seam line in between the wrist and his hands. So I think they look nice, and it's a nice accessory to have on it, and I'm glad I didn't lose them either. And also I'm glad that it doesn't come off the figure easily. They're pretty much attached to him very well. So I would say the whole figure in itself looks good. I really don't have any issues with it. And I did want to go over articulations already so that we can go ahead and touch on that. So the feet are attached via a ball joint to the legs, so they do move to the right and left pretty nicely, and then also to the front and to the bottom very nicely as well. I like the fact that the seam line is not that noticeable in between the pants. So I would say the feet do articulate very well. With the legs, they don't go to the sides that much because of the fabric of the outfit, and I don't want to mess it up in any way. They do turn sideways a little bit, pretty much. And then if we do go to the back of the leg, to the front of the leg, I would say that it does move to the front pretty nicely. Yeah, I think that's pretty good enough. And also that seam line in between the ankles is not noticeable either, even though the pants is going up. The legs do go all the way to the back until there, which is expected since it's a plastic figure. And then the whole body turns around completely, which is a first for me. So you can tell there is a seam line in between the waist area. It does go all the way to the side until there, and to the left side till there. So that is pretty good. I think that gives me a lot of flexibility with the figure. He goes to the front till there, and to the back all the way till there. With the arms, pretty easily, since they're made out of plastic, the articulations are very easily, and the figure moves in every single way. So it goes all the way to the back till there, and to the front all the way till there, pretty much. In between the elbows, it is going to bend all the way until there. So nice. I think it moves very nicely. And finally, let's go ahead and get to the head sculpt. With the head sculpt, so since it is attached into a ball joint, more like a square kind of clip-on that is on the neck, it does turn around all completely. It does go to the sides very nicely, and as I mentioned before, to me the head is very important with the articulation, especially right there. So it has to go all the way to the top because we are going to have them in a flying position going downwards. So I think the articulations are fine. I don't have any issues with it. The whole figure is good. I can't find anything wrong with it. Please let me know in the comments if you guys do. I think that the body proportions are good as well. He looks pretty muscular, so no issues with the figure individually. Okay everyone, so let's go ahead and put this whole thing together. We start off with mode A. So I have taken a look at the whole pamphlet and all of the instructions, and I pretty much kind of have a full understanding of how to put the whole thing together. So I'll try to show it off in camera to the best of my abilities. I will confess there will be some parts that will be cut off from camera, so I apologize about that. I'll try my best to get the whole thing set up and to describe what I am doing as I go step by step. So these are the parts that I'm gonna use for mode A. Mode A is gonna be pretty much just as the suit is barely taking over Tony Stark, so it will be two separate figures, if I can say it that way. So we have this big piece itself as you guys can see, there's a lot of holes in it where pieces are gonna go attached to it. So the first step is to go to the back. So as you guys can see, we have two holes right there on that silver part, one right there there, and then another one right there. And we're gonna attach pretty much his wings. So we start off with this one. It has a clip-on red little button right there at the very bottom of it. So it's all a matter of just putting it right here to install it. And the instructions do pretty much say which ones are left and right. So thankfully you guys shouldn't be too confused about it. And then this one right there is gonna go on that hole. Thankfully, both pieces are very articulated, so you guys can move it in different ways to pose the figure. So we get that done for the left side, and it's going to be the same thing for the right side. So that's something that I won't show off, just so that way we don't take too much time and extend the video too long. So that would be pretty much the back part. This pieces right here, you guys are going to split them from each other, and one is going to go on the left. As I mentioned before, all the pieces have its letters, so you guys would know where to attach. So that one goes on the right, and then this one goes on the left. So again, the little clip button that goes attached to the side. So we have that completed. We get these pieces right here that are also going to go attached in the front area. In that hole directly, we would attach this one on the right side. Again, it's going to include its letters, so it should be a pretty easy process. And then we have that attached. I like the fact that it's very articulated, so we can move it in different ways. It is completely up to you guys, and of course the left side as well. So on the bottom, these pieces on the leg thankfully do have magnets. Again, all of them have its letters. So this one for the right side on the golden, and then this one right here through the front. Again, the instructions are going to say these things, so I apologize if I'm going a little bit too fast. We have done that for the left side. Let's go ahead and do it also for the right side. Now we get this chest piece that, as I mentioned before, it's supposed to go on Tony Stark, but for this mode specifically, we're gonna detach it. I'll be honest, I don't like the fact of how attached it is. So it's based on these small clips that are pretty much very easy to break. Now I want to apologize, in this part right here I did have to cut off. This was too difficult for me to show off on camera. So it's that chest piece that we just detached from the other part from the back, and we went ahead and attached its shoulder armor as well as its chest armor. And as you guys can see right there, those 4 holes on the left, right, and in the middle that have all these clip buttons that go install into them. And I can't tell you how scared I am of those clips. I can tell that they're gonna break very easily as I install in this install. Thankfully, I do have crazy glue, so hopefully if something breaks, I'll be able to put it back together. And then this piece is going to go right there on those clip buttons to connect the whole figure, which is going to be that top part of the whole setup. So I will do this off camera as well, as it's going to be a little bit too hard for me to do it in camera. So that is what you guys should be looking at once you install the whole chest front, the front chest area to the whole backside and the legs of the figure itself. It looks pretty cool, I can't lie, and I know it's a struggle. I'll be honest, it's a struggle whenever you guys do once you guys are in that process of putting it together. But once it's put together, I can't tell you how nice it looks. It looks pretty nice, but it does take its time, so stay patient once you do that. Now to Tony. So the things that are going to go attached to Tony, so I did put him in the position with his arms extended, which is the way that he's going to be posed throughout this mode A. So I did go ahead and detach the left hand, and then this piece right here, you guys are going to detach it in half. And then you guys are going to keep the part that has the elbow part at the very top. So we have detached this part, and we're going to do it the same thing for the right side. This part right here, same thing. We're going to detach it in half. And again, make sure that they all read the letters on each side, so that way we can attach left with left and right with right. So just detach it, and you guys are going to keep the one that has that little cap button at the very top, which is supposed to be a magnet, which we will go over a little bit later on. This piece right here has a little clip on that gets attached to this part right here, and that should complete his whole arm. We're going to pretty much install it on the left, and you guys will do the same thing on the right, so that you guys can complete the whole setup that is supposed to go attached onto Tony Stark. Right here we do get a flight pole with a waist clamp. This is going to be for the whole figure setup. So it comes with a waist clamp, it comes with this stick that goes attached to the Iron Man part, and then right here we get a crotch holder for Tony Stark to give it a better pose and a stronger hold on it. So that clip is going to go in the middle of the whole Iron Man suit. So attach right there, and then those caps right there are gonna go attach onto that left and right side. As you guys can see there, those are magnets that make the figure get attached completely. It's a pretty easy, well, it's not an easy process, it's hard, as you guys can see, but once you get it attached, it looks good to go. So right there, it's fully attached. It's just a matter of kind of adjusting everything so that it looks more good and more clear. But this would pretty much just be mode A. So right here, I'm gonna post mode A so that way we can talk about him. So I do like this part, but I do like this mode, but I would say it's probably my least favorite mode, just because number one, to me, it was the most difficult one to do. So even though it just took me a couple of minutes right here on camera, off camera, it took me hours and hours because things fall apart. Sometimes you did some parts incorrectly and you have to attach. Also, you have to do the perfect pose, so you can't have either two to the left or to the right, or two in the front or two in the back. So there's a lot of things that you guys have to perfect whenever you guys get to this mode, but this would pretty much be mode A. Again, to me, my least favorite, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. I like it a lot. It looks really cool, but it's just, I would say the other two modes are going to be much better, which we will obviously go over right now. But please let me know in the comments what you guys think specifically about this mode A. Okay, so mode B is going to be pretty much kind of like a continuation. So it's going to be the suit itself, pretty much almost fully taking over Tony Stark. So we're going to remove all of the leg accessories that we just attached via magnet. I did also remove Tony Stark from the whole Iron Man suit, and we will go over that a little bit later on. We're also going to detach all of the chest armor that we attached at the beginning of mode A. And then the last tip, you guys are going to detach its legs from the suit. I thought for a second it would be a very hard process and that I was going to end up breaking something, but thankfully it is not that hard. As you guys can see, the holes of where it goes attached. We're also going to detach these little small pieces that go on his legs, and then we're going to attach these pieces individually that do come as lonely accessories from both right and left sides. So that would be the beginning of how the Iron Man suit is going to work for this mode B. We're also going to attach these silver parts that are going to be for Tony's waist, which we will go over a little bit later on once we put both Tony and the whole suit together. So they both go left and right. Same thing, it has some clips that go attached to the holes of the full Iron Man suit from the back part. Again, pretty easy process, shouldn't be too difficult to attach them. And then with Tony, this time Tony is going to be more involved with this suit up, and he's going to have more accessories attached to him. So I did go ahead and detach the armor, just so that way I have an easier time of to attach that leg pieces. So right here, I did go ahead and remove his feet off camera. I apologize, it was just kind of a hard process throughout the camera. So I removed his feet, and then I knew that this was going to be for his thighs, so we attached from both sides, and then this part is supposed to be for his calf, so the bottom part. And again, remember the letters, so that way you guys don't get those sides confused. So we do that one for the right. I would say be careful with the clothing, as the pants will go up as you're installing these pieces, so I'll probably adjust it through off camera so that way it looks better. So that would be the way that it's supposed to go on its legs to complete that part. Okay, apologies guys. So I was putting it incorrectly on the opposite side, but now I went ahead and corrected, and I did go ahead and put his boots back on to complete that. The Iron Man boot is supposed to be attached over his regular shoe, and this is how it's supposed to look with the feet together. We're gonna go ahead and attach the pieces that it already had with the Iron Man suit for mode A. We're gonna do the same for mode B, but this time they're gonna go on Tony Stark instead. It's the same process. The only difference is these little pieces that are going to go attached on the back side for this mode specifically. So they do include a magnet, so the process of installing should be pretty easy. And then we're going to attach those golden parts again, just like we did for mode A. My only issue with these is that they do move really easily, but only these back parts. So sometimes they do fall off. Also, his crotch area does have a magnet, so we're able to attach that accessory. And then to go ahead and connect the whole figure once again, we're going to pretty much do the same thing we did again. So we attach that armor just like it was exactly for mode A, and we're going to attach it the same way as mode A, which is going to be with the magnets. The difference is that now the whole figure is going to be one, as the Iron Man suit is almost fully taken over Tony Stark. So the waist pieces right there, the silver waist pieces are gonna insert Tony Stark. So push Tony Stark as much as you can to insert him into the full suit itself. Be careful not to break anything, but yeah, try to insert it as much as you can. And then also those circular things, try to attach it to his groin area to complete the full figure and make it as full as you possibly can. So that would be pretty much the whole mode B, how it's supposed to go attached. And then also with the flight pole, we're gonna deattach the stick that was attached to the Iron Man suit, and we're just gonna leave the waist clamp and the crotch grabber on the bottom, so that way it holds onto the figure completely. Okay, so we have mode B, which to me is a better look than mode A. The fact that the whole figure is almost put together, it just looks better in my personal opinion. Again, don't get me wrong, mode A is still a good mode, but mode B just looks more complete. It's basically to me, what does it for me is the leg armor. The fact that it's, in Tony's legs, so the whole suit up looks absolutely awesome. That's what does it for me. So to me, mode B is a better mode. I know I didn't do it perfectly. I know that there's some pieces that I could have attached a little bit better, but I just kind of wanted to show how it's supposed to look. Again, the instructions do a really good job of telling you how to set up the whole thing, but getting to actually putting it together is the hard part. So it took me a while, but it didn't take me as long as mode A. This was a little bit easier, and again, just to me, it's a better look than mode A. But please let me know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with me. Okay, so now mode C, and we start off with his armor as pretty much I went ahead and took off everything off of Iron Man, or excuse me, Tony Stark in this case. So we're gonna remove that magnet cap that it had at the top, and we're gonna deinstall this whole armor. This elbow part will be removed completely of this setup for the mode C, and you guys are gonna leave it like this completely. And then that pretty much mode for the biceps and triceps, you're gonna connect that piece that it had at the beginning of the video, but without the magnet cap. So it's more like this is supposed to be a brace that is gonna go inside of Tony's arm, and then this piece, same thing. So there is going to be nothing on top or the bottom, just on the side. So reattach those pieces just like we had it at the beginning of the video, and then we're going to put them inside of Tony Stark to complete the whole armor. So this mode C is just going to be for posing purposes. This is not actually something that happened throughout the movie. This is just going to be for me for posing, and I'll explain later why to me this is my favorite mode. But pretty much the armor, you're going to install it fully on his left arm, and you will do the same thing for the right arm completely to complete that setup. And then with the Iron Man suit, so we're going to remove the chest armor that was installed in mode A and mode B. Just be careful on it, because again, with those small little clips, you might end up breaking something. As you guys were able to see, everything fell apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the chest armor as well as the shoulder armor that I had initially to put it back to how it was at the beginning of the video. And then right here, I'm gonna attach that chest armor that we had seen again at the beginning of the video, and I figured that it was gonna go attached to Tony Stark, but as you guys can see, we have it on the back. Make sure that it goes completely on it, as it's gonna have magnets, and they're gonna be very important to set up the whole figure itself. And then we have those those shoulder armor that are gonna get installed on those small little ball joints. And then also this chest armor will go attached onto those clip-ons to go back to the original piece that we had at the beginning of the video. These things I will do it off camera, as it is a little bit difficult, so I apologize about that, but it is supposed to look exactly like this once you put it all together. Back on the waist area, so right here we're gonna attach those chest pieces that we had seen for mode A that went installed on the front of Iron Man's suit. This time they're gonna be attached on the back side of Iron Man, so pretty much just make sure to install it carefully. The good thing is that these pieces are very articulated, so you guys are able to move it in any way you want to. So we will do it for both left and right. And then these pieces right here, those were the way that they were at the beginning of the video. They go attached onto his sides to complete pretty much his waist and his area pretty much. And then for the leg, we're gonna remove those small little magnet parts that it came for mode B and reattach the golden parts to his legs completely. Pretty much the legs stay as they were already, just those back parts are gonna go attached completely on it. As you guys were able to see, the shoe just fell off, so I apologize. I'll put it back on. And then these pieces right here will go attached to the front, which is something new, and this is the only mode that these will be used completely for. So this would pretty much be mode C for me, for sure my favorite mode for the whole figure. The reason I'm saying that is because, number one, that is the way that I'm gonna have it posed on my display case. I would love to have it posed flying, but I just don't think I have enough space, and the fact that I have other Iron Man surrounding him, there's a possibility I might knock one over, so I'd rather leave it this way. But to me, the whole setup just looks absolutely amazing. Reminds me a little bit of Mark V from Iron Man 2. I think it's Mark V, please correct me if I'm wrong, with his arms extended and the whole suit pretty much being taken over him. So again, we don't get this scene throughout the whole movie, I believe, for Marvel's The Avengers, but I think just Hot Toys gave us this option just in case we don't have space and we can just post the figure standing up. But to me, this mode is so cool. I really love how it looks, and to me, in my personal opinion, my favorite, and the one that I'm gonna have for my display case once I do put everything up and I finally post the figure on my display case. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this mode C, and let me know overall which mode is your favorite for the whole figure. Okay, so why not a quick side-by-side comparison? So I'm only going to do one. I feel like this video has been a little bit too long, and longer than I would have wanted. So I'm only going to do one side-by-side comparison. I don't have any other Tony Stark figures, so I can't make a proper comparison with other Iron Man, but I think I can do one with my Mark VI, which is the last Iron Man unboxing that I just did. The reason I'm doing a comparison between these two is because, number one, both of them are Thoughta versions, and they're both from the same movie. Both were complicated in its own way. It's hard because all the pieces falling off, and it's just a hard process. But at the same time, what I will give credit to Hot Toys is that for both of these figures, the instructions were very clear about each different mode, and overall it wasn't hard to understand. It was just hard to execute it, I would say. But both of the Thoughta versions are amazing. I like the fact that I have both of them, and the fact that they're both from the same movie. It's just absolutely amazing. But to me, if you're asking me which is my favorite version, I have to go with the Mark VI. Number one, it's a die-cast suit, unlike Mark VII, which is just plastic, and also the overall look once it's finally done. There's just something about me turning on those LED lights and seeing all the blue and the gold and all the pieces getting attached to Iron Man. So I think, again, both Thoughta versions are amazing. I'm glad to know that I have both of them in my collection, but I just have to go with Mark VI as my favorite between the two. But I think a fair comparison, as both are Thoughta versions for the movie. Okay, everyone, so we have reached the end of this video where I'm just going to post a figure, and which, well, you guys already saw the posters, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again just to pretty much give my final thoughts about the guys. So very in love with what I've received from Hot Toys, even though the process of putting everything together was a pain in the butt. It took me hours and hours, and I would say this is the video that I struggled the most to do. It took me days to do this. If it was for me, I would have released this unboxing days ago, but it just took me a while, and I wanted to make sure that the video came out as good as possible. But even though it was a hard process to do, still in all, the overall result is amazing. To me, all the modes look amazing, and to me, that third mode, the mode C, is the best one for me, in my personal opinion. Also, guys, I'm hoping that throughout the video I did a good job of showing off how each mode works. I apologize if maybe I went too fast, or maybe I cut off too many parts, or maybe I talked too much, but I just wanted to make sure that that I explain myself to the best of my abilities throughout each mode. So let me know how I did on that, and also let me know what are the things that I can do better whenever I am explaining a whole process of putting a figure together. I feel that in some ways I'm still new at this, so just let me know. You guys can be fully honest, and I will fully understand, but I'm hoping that I did the best job possible of putting the whole figure together. But overall, very happy with what I've received from Hot Hot Toys. Next up should be Iron Man Mark II. I don't know when I'll get that figure, but that will be another suit up kind of version where I have to put multiple pieces all together, and I cannot wait how frustrated I will get as I do that video specifically. But for now, guys, this is going to be it for this unboxing video for the Mark VII suit up version for Tony Stark from this movie, The Avengers. Let me know in the comments what you guys specifically think about this figure. To me, I really liked it a lot, and if you guys do want to pick it up, as I mentioned before, I will include the link to Sideshow, so that way you guys can go to the link and purchase your own copy of the figure itself. But for now, I want to thank you guys as always for supporting. Want to remind you to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, so that way you guys can see the images that I took for this figure specifically. Also, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and also join to support the channel and for more unboxing and review videos, as well as figure previews of everything that's coming up for Hot Toys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today to this Mark VII suit up version for Tony Stark, and I will see you next time.